What is up? Welcome back to the Cousin Cecil Show. I'm your host, Mike Fowler, aka Cousin Cecil. And for this Monday episode, I also have a guest. I got my friend, Mr. Delvin Cox. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good, Mike. How you doing, brother?
Oh, pretty good. I obviously just of course, I would always like to have you on the show, but no, just more. You had a discussion middle of the week, just that you wanted to make you put your own flavor into a video game podcast more than even the one you do.
Yeah, I think how do I say this nicely? Well, fuck it, I don't have to say this nicely. Yeah. I feel like a lot of video game podcasts today kind of go through this similar format of let's talk about the news, let's talk about this, let's talk about the top story, which is fine. But the way they go about it is boring. That's the best way to describe it. It's boring and tedious when you start hearing everybody talk about the same topic over and over again. And it's just monotonous. Monotonous, boring, bland. And I kind of get annoyed by it almost because none of the people that I listen to, well, I don't even listen to any of them anymore now, sound like actual regular guys who like video games. They sound like they're trying to sound like everyone else, like the Greg Millers, like the Colin Moriartys, and that's fine if you want to sound like them, but I find myself the more I get older, this is about podcasts in general, not liking podcasts because I can't relate to them. I'll give a perfect example. Joe Budden podcast is one of them. I find myself not liking it because they're starting to talk about stuff that I simply don't relate to. Like, I don't relate to buying Birkin bags for girls and things like that.
Right.
So it's like, all right, we understand you're rich, so that's what we're going to talk about. So talk about your rich stuff, but I'm going to be over here with the regular people.
Right. No, I get what you're even saying, because also, like, even another perspective for sticking to the video game stuff. Like, you had even me. I've just been doing this for almost a year now. But a lot of people, they like to copy and paste some of the bigger wig ones, but then also they're copy and pasting like the jadeness of the people that have been in so long. Like, nothing even to Greg Miller, but like, he's been in it so long. Now he's very different compared to what he was on IGN, where he was even from the beginning of Kind of Funny. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of all the, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the technical stuff almost bores me sometimes. It's not because I don't want to hear about it. It's just that at some point I want to talk about the video games. How does this affect me as a gamer? Like, I think I've seen a couple of topics you got here. One in particular I'm interested in, the Switch topic. Everybody keeps talking about this. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that. I'm like, okay, that's cool and all, but how does this affect me as a gamer? What interests me about this subject in particular?
Yeah. We'll get into it. And then obviously, more to keep a little bit of a formula that I've been always doing. Obviously, we'll get right into also then what you've been playing, but also we're going to do 2 quick reviews before we get into the real nitty gritty of the video game news. But yeah, what you've been playing, Delvin?
This is funny because I'm probably going to talk about this on PSXP, but what I've been playing is I got back into Arkham Knight.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because when Arkham Knight came out, everybody shit knows about me, but I love the Arkham games. I love Arkham City. I love Arkham Origins. I loved, what was the first one?
Arkham Asylum.
I loved all those games. Some of my favorite games ever. So when I got the Arkham Knight, I'm like, I think I bought everything that came. I got the special edition that has the big statue and everything of Batman and stuff.
Okay.
And I was all in on it. I played this game so much, and I got to the point where at the end, you fight the bad guy. I don't want to say who it is for those who haven't played it. I think that's cool.
The Arkham Knight.
Yes. And after you beat him, they're like, okay, now you have to go collect all the Riddler trophies to complete the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh? Like, yeah, to beat Arkham Knight to really beat it to get the actual ending of the game. You have to collect like 300 Riddler trophies that are all around the city. And to me, like playing this game, that was like disheartening. That like broke me. Like, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. This is too much. And I tried. At that time, I had probably got like 50 of them. I got it way up to, dude, this is back in the day. I got it almost to all I needed was like 90 trophies left.
Yeah.
So it's been years now since I played it, and I got me a nicer TV. I got the thin, I think it's the LG ThinQ, the fancy one everybody loves.
Yeah.
So I said, I was like, let me see how Arkham Knight looks on this TV. Looks beautiful. Looks like a PS5 game. It looks really great.
Yeah.
So I started playing it again. I'm still at that point. It didn't eat my save. So I'm still, like, if you look at my save file, it says 99% finished with the game. So I said, let me just try to get all the Riddler trophies so I can fight the Riddler and beat it and get the Arkham Protocol. So I'm doing that now. And also, I forgot that when I originally played the game, none of that DLC was out.
Oh, yeah.
Because they released a whole bunch of DLC where you can like fight Man-Bat and all that other stuff, Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, you get like Batgirl's story. You also get like the Harley Quinn challenges.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nightwing.
Red
Hood. Yeah. I never played any of that. So I'm back in the game now, trying all that stuff out for the first time. I'm having a blast with it. So it's almost like I'm playing a new game. And I think it's awesome.
I like the Arkham series also, and I need to get back into Arkham Knight. I didn't get that far into it. I bought the whole thing only because there was a glitch one time on Black Friday, like around Black Friday season, that the PlayStation actually you got like the whole Game of the Year edition for like $10, and I hit it. I was at work and hit it. And I started, and I didn't have no qualms because of the Batmobile. And I don't give two shits because like it feels good. It's not.
Yeah, it feels great. And let me add to that. I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot one also detail they added to it. They added in that game almost all the bat suits.
Yeah, that too.
So they have the Batmobile from Batman vs Superman. They have the Batmobile from The Dark Knight.
The 89 Batman. They have
89 Batman. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I have because of having all the DLC too. I think right before, because I downloaded it on a PS4 right before PS5 came out, and I made my Batmobile have, I think I'm riding around with all the Riddler sticker or graffiti on it.
Yes.
And my skin, I was being Batman Beyond.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it. No, you talking about it makes me go like, man, I should just download it again because it's a good game.
It's really fun.
And I haven't seen it ever on like a PS4 Pro upgraded system, so I'm like, ooh. But no, and then you said what else did you say you played?
That's the only thing I've been playing so far. That's the main thing. I think I beat Ghost of Tsushima already. I did that recently, and that's really it. I watched, and that's because Wednesday I went to AEW Dynamite, and Friday I watched Black Widow, and the other days I'm recording something. So that kind of took up my whole week, honestly.
You already watched Black Widow?
Oh yeah, I watched it already.
How'd you like it?
It was mad at me. I didn't like it that much. I thought it was okay. I'll put it this way. I didn't hate it. I felt like it felt more like a year one MCU movie.
Okay.
As opposed to the modern day MCU movies that we have today.
Let's say okay. I'm trying to think of a mediocre Marvel movie. You like it better than Iron Man 3?
That's an interesting one. I want to say, I don't think Iron Man 3 is that bad besides that plot twist. So I would say it's on the same level as Iron Man 3. I'll say that. That's what it is.
because I ain't gonna. I mean, of course, it's Dune. I also don't give a fuck about spoilers, but I know listeners.
People are listening.
Who gives a fuck? No one. Who? Chelfie's gonna be spoiled? No, nobody's gonna be spoiled. No, but I heard there are some connecting things what I just said about Iron Man 3 that happens in Black Widow of like a villain, but this guy I met from work, so he might be brand new. He might be retarded. So who knows? So.
I will say this: there are some things in there that it answers some questions like about Budapest and things like that, and it answers some of the long question of things about Black Widow. But then again, some of the things they answer, where you're like, I don't really care about that. That's the way they did it. I didn't like the whole. This has been a constant topic on the internet. The whole Taskmaster thing has people up and roused about that. I didn't hate it. I thought the execution of it, that could have been a cool moment if they executed it better. That's my opinion on that situation.
I will say also for a person who's not watched it, but also, so me speaking, it should not be really spoilery. Of course, this is a good, this is probably the closest comic book idea of like, hey, we're going to have a Black Widow movie, but we're also going to introduce that there are multiple different Black Widows. Like, there'll be like the Black Widow number 3 version of herself, which is that probably one of the sister or whatever it is.
Yeah, because for people to understand, this is going in the comics, not necessarily the movie, but the movie touches on this, that Black Widow is kind of like a title.
Yeah.
And there are multiple Black Widows. They work for like a Russian organization and stuff like that. And they all kind of like, it deals with a kind of gross thing in terms of, it's not like sex trafficking, but it kind of is because they're trafficking child soldiers, essentially. Child women soldiers.
Yeah, they become like double agents. Yeah.
Yes.
All that shit. But also for people who want to see where the future of MCU goes, I know that the post-credit scene is probably what, for me, the most interesting part, because obviously it's another breadcrumb of something you saw like in Falcon Winter Soldier and all that shit, because TikTok spoiled that. I watched the post-credit scene
already. I will say this. Besides that post-credit scene, there is nothing in there really adding to the future of the MCU. So this movie feels completely out of place. And I would go even further in saying this movie probably would have made more sense if it came out right after Civil War.
Or I don't know where it is, the time frame.
Okay, I can tell you the exact timeline.
Is it
that's not a spoiler.
I'm assuming it's after Ultron.
Nope. It's directly after Civil War.
So that's after Ultron.
Yeah, this is a direct sequel to Civil War. That's the best way to describe it. So if you look at this movie, it's Ultron, I guess Civil War is next, right? And then this.
Yeah.
So this is more of a direct sequel to Civil War as opposed to anything else. Because everything that's happened, I don't want to say too much to spoil it, but everything that's happened in Civil War has happened. And this movie is kind of Black Widow dealing with the ramifications of that in terms of her character.
Yeah.
They touch on that a lot in this movie. So once you get that timeline in your head, that's where you're at.
Okay. No, and obviously, so I've heard also the Twitter people, there's people who love it and also people who just said it's okay. Nobody's said like it's dog shit. So obviously, yeah, it's in that B range of movies. It ain't the best of the Marvel universe, but it ain't the worst. But yeah, no, it's good to hear. I wanted to go to an IMAX because I've never been to an IMAX theater, and B, I heard IMAX had comic books of a prelude for Black Widow.
Oh, that's cool. I should have went for that. But yeah, I went to IMAX, I want to say twice. And the first movie I saw in IMAX 3D, believe it or not, was Green Lantern.
Oh, I'm sorry for you.
I actually enjoyed that movie in there. In IMAX 3D, I think that's what it was. Right. And the second movie I saw in IMAX period was Into the Spider-Verse. And that was a funny experience because when I saw it in IMAX, I thought something was wrong with the screen at the beginning.
Oh.
because when you're watching it, your eyes have to adjust to how it looks. I'm like, is this 3D? Is something wrong with the screen?
Yeah, that transition even from Miles having slower frames per second at the beginning to the end.
Yeah. It took me a minute to adjust to that. Well, once I adjusted to it, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is dope.
But no, and I'm more glad you're jumping in because of games and also and all that, catching up some of your backlog. To be honest, for me, for what I've been playing, I honestly didn't play that much. I've been still I'm transitioning to a new job / that coming back from Florida shit. I just been playing a little bit of Fortnite, but that's basically much it for me for playing games, and I've always beat that dead horse all the time on this show. So
did you get the final book?
The final book,
the final Fortnite book. I think issue 6.
It's in my pull list, and it's I haven't went to the comic shop yet, but I already it's in my. I'm not that worried about that, but I've also learned what happens, and it's actually. It was very mediocre in the middle because I got up to issue 3 because I have 3 back here. I've heard it's a little mediocre, but I've been watching with like videos of, like what happens. Issue 6 opens it up because this is so minuscule for people who care about a story of Fortnite. I'm going to spoil a little bit. It obviously doesn't end it. It just more reveals that Lex Luthor
is behind it. Yeah,
is behind it with the Dr. Salone, who's from Fortnite and the IO guards. And that's pretty cool because in 30 days, Superman comes to Fortnite. So we'll see if that pushes the idea. They might say, yeah, we're going to do 0 Point Volume 2, which that's how it even ended. It says, not even close to the end, it says. I'm like, okay, that's
I got it for my son today, and he has all of them except issue 4 now. And he read it, and he immediately showed me some of the characters that are in the book that got him excited because he's like, this character might come to Fortnite.
Yeah.
Okay.
If some of those issues, I think either issue 2 or 3, you can see in the shadows, you see Loki before they announce Loki that's out there now for a skin. So, yeah, it's pretty, it's cool. I'm just haven't had time to go up to the, that comic shop. I've been buying digital comics, and that's my problem.
I can't do the digital.
I've been having trouble transitioning back to physical because I want to keep the book nice. So I'm like this, I'm like with the digital, I just go boom, 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 square, like just go panel, 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 boom, done.
I think I need to get a new iPad. Get a new iPad, get it all nice and clean looking, and then just start loading up digital books on it like that. That'll probably get me to read digital more often than not.
Well, good thing you transitioned about digital comics because we're also going to do 2 comic reviews right now. One of them, you don't have to say even anything because I know you haven't read it, but the second one, at least you'll have a opinion on since you read the first 3. But these 2 are from Scout Comics, so it's kind of cool, the fake sponsorship because I get those reviews. But the first one is called Tales Told in Techni-HORROR Season 1. It's basically it's a Black Caravan imprint, so it's the more I don't want to say adult, but obviously it's the same print house from Scout, but they did like Cherry Blackbird, which was a very adult eccentric comic. But here's the little synopsis that it gives you. Like we do on each episode, we're going to do 4 out of best out of 5 for the review. But Black Caravan's imprint, Tales Told in Techni-HORROR, is a binarial horror series that blends the best in horror subgenres, body shock to grindhouse and more. Each issue contains 5 short stories from the dark minds that brought you Province of Madness, including a mini pin-up gallery of horror. So, more also, so we can also say the writers. I can't even say his name, but Kieran Taghan. And then the artist and colorist is Christian DeBari. And I believe it says Simon Go is the letterer. But just more so I can break it down. The first issue I read, and I do like it's an anthology. So that's another better way to explain it. It's an anthology. I really enjoy also, it sounds dumb, but like each story, because how they say Techni-Horror, so it's kind of, they're trying to stick to Technicolor. Each story kind of has like a primary color for the main of the story. So like the first story, which coincidentally is in the ocean, but so the blue is the more highlighted color of the whole story. Then the next one was like a more shaded pink, but the pink was the main color of the whole mini story. And I'm just more, because like obviously I want to keep it spoiler free. What we do obviously here, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. It's pretty good. It's to me the stories seem good, but to me they feel like more like a poetry poem of story, because it felt short. They felt like very short stories, like they're just trying to say like a poem-esque style of like sending a message. Then it was done. Then we go to the next story, and then it kind of goes. It's like very short stories. Like I'm like, whoa, that's really short. So you can't really. I couldn't sink my teeth into each mini story, but the presentation is good. The pinups, even like the art is really cool. But yeah, 3 out of 5. It's really good.
Sounds like Creepshow.
Yes, it. I didn't even send you the thing, but it has a very interesting like cover, just like really cool, like a spaceman skull, and it obviously says Techni-Horror and all that shit. But yeah, no, congrats to the team, 3 out of 5, and obviously comes out this Wednesday.
I gotta support Scout Comics because their home base is in Florida, in Fort Myers, I want to say.
A lot of them are in Florida because even Mad Cave Studios is in Florida.
Yeah, so gotta support Mad Cave, gotta support Scout Comics. They're hometown boys. I like it.
I'm debating on sending a message to Mark London because he's following me from the CEO of Mad Cave. Maybe he'll interview, but
you should go for it.
But the next one is definitely a show's favorite, and also been on your show, Mr. Brian Hawkins. We have Black Cotton issue 4 that comes out this Wednesday. And I'm assuming you didn't get to read it yet because obviously just did how it worked. But you obviously read the series up to now, correct?
That is correct.
And what do you think of the series from like issue 1 to 3?
I think it's fantastic. I think issue 1, me and you discussed it. You had concerns of where the story was going to go. Issue 2 and 3 answered those concerns pretty soundly, I like to say. 3 was an excellent issue, and it kind of put not without giving any spoilers, because I think this is something you want to read. I think 3 brought another element that I didn't expect to see in this, that I thought was super cool.
3 definitely has the element, because obviously for this show, we gave that a 5 out of 5 out of all the issues. Issue 3 has a 5 out of 5 score from us. Well, from me. And then it's because it shows the next storyline.
Yes.
Because like we said, there's a discussion that with you, me, and others of just like, where's this plot going to go, because of our universe has been kind of tainted with that whole police brutality discussion. So it's kind of, but they are doing very good on that discussion, but just at the same time, it's like a sore spot for our universe to be still talking about it.
Yeah.
But that side story that involves like just more how the world would go if, like Black Cotton is, what if, Africans came to America before Europeans. That's the part that gets me more interested for each one.
Yeah, I agree. I like where the story was going to, and just even going into I guess you want to call it the A story, the main story of Black Cotton. I like what they did with it in terms of showing this other side. And like I said, I don't want to say spoilers of that situation.
I feel if you wanted to spoil 1 and 2, because of it's just more not like spoil, but the idea you can break down a little bit if you wanted, but you don't have to.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. I want people to go out and read Black Cotton. If you haven't read it yet, do so. But the story of Black Cotton is simply this: the world is kind of flipped, and as opposed to white Americans being the dominant race in America, it's African Americans are the dominant race in the country. And what's going on is there's a police shooting where a black officer shot a white person. And it's causing a whole uproar because of, classism and things like that in this situation. And semi-racism and the tensions are very high and things like that. And it brings up a lot of interesting conversations that I don't think we think about when these things happen. In terms of, well, one, which I think is very important, did the cop mean to do it?
Yeah.
And also adding on to that, how the cop's family feels about it, how the cop feels about it. And then, because me being a black person, I always see the side of, in terms of our life, how it affects that black family, how it affects their kids, if it's a father and things like that, how it affects the mother. It's interesting seeing it from the other angle of, hey, this cop made a life-changing decision, and him having to deal with the ramifications of that, whether good or bad, whether he meant to do it or not. I think it's very compelling in that aspect. I think it's more compelling that it's not real, in terms of like, we're not dealing with a real situation. So we can from the outside in, us being readers, we can kind of analyze it and not necessarily pick sides, but get a better understanding of the story. I like it a lot. It's great.
Yeah, and then we'll even go. We're gonna go right back to issue 4, which is the review one that we're talking about. I don't have a real synopsis because I'll just more break it down, spoiler free through here, just because just how it went. But long story short, this issue kind of does a little back step compared to the progression of issue 3 did, and not in a back step in the sense of they fucked up, but the idea that it doesn't push the story forward. It goes now. Issue 4 is mainly just about Xavier, the younger brother of Zion, the cop, and then it's more showing you now Xavier. So since issue 1, we've also seen Xavier is kind of more of the in this universe a white sympathizer. So obviously, it just has a little bit of a plot and him seeing things that are happening that his family are controlling. And like obviously that's where the story of issue 4 goes, with again without spoiling it. And then some of the background shit I wanted more to say, because this ain't the story wise, that I really enjoy about the the little the little breadcrumbs that Brian and Patrick Foreman have done is like okay, Xavier's going to school, and his school is El Shabazz High School. And so if for people that are like me that didn't know exactly who that was offhand, that's Malcolm X's Muslim name, right?
Yes.
And then also another little interesting thing, because they just do it like very small. So because of this universe has Africans coming to America first, Jesus Christ is not like the main religious person. So there's a spot where him and his girlfriend are talking. Instead of saying "Oh, for Christ's sake," they actually said for Shabazz. No, where is it? Selassie sake. Selassie. So, and that is apparently one of the kings of Africa that was before, Haile Selassie.
I like that, by the way. I like that they are getting the things they need to get right in terms of how, of course, if you have a culture that is made by black people, they're going to put their roots into what it is. And I think you can say that about America. American culture is based upon, it's not a knock at all, so don't kill me off of this. American culture is based upon what white Americans saw the culture to be, because they're the ones who founded the country.
Yeah.
So if they came in, they're their deity was God, and the Son of God is Jesus Christ. So slang things kind of adapted off of that, and I like the fact that Black Cotton is kind of turning the head on that for it, and like, hey, no, the people who kind of populated America in this world is Black people, so you're gonna have a more urban, different take on that. I think that's good. I like it.
I also, what is another one? But no, that's the little breadcrumbs I like to hear, and also, it also tongue tied. They have Xavier also quote a white poemist from the European about this, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm like, huh? Because I asked Brian, like, why him in particular? And honestly, it's because we both agreed on this idea. It was a safe route of picking this European poem, writer, so that obviously the effects of whatever happens in the Black Cotton universe didn't affect them. But I am curious to know, because they've also said down the road, all the history and like these little backstories that I'm interested in are going to be little breadcrumbs. But I do want to see when Black Cotton hits up, like, where was Black Cotton's universe, like, which it maybe never happened, but like the idea of, like, was there World War One? Was there World War Two? At least
that's a good point.
I like to know what happened there. But just the more for Black Cotton issue 4, with the idea that there's a little bit of a backstep. It kind of goes into the score. I'm going to give this issue a 4 out of 5 because they didn't give me more of the story that I'm looking for, but also it didn't progress even the main story of Zion and with his, the person he shot.
Okay, I like that. I think I like that you're doing that. I like that. I feel like sometimes when you're doing comic books, like they do in the movies a lot too, and TV shows especially, you have to have that high point and then bring people down just a little bit to bring them right back up.
Oh, that's the thing too. That's why it's still a 4 to 5. It is definitely that, because that issue 3 ending and seeing like a very comic booky idea that is going to happen with not even how to spoil it, but like there's going to be a possible assassination. That is definitely, it's very comic booky of how they did it. But the idea of it gives, I'm like, whoa, what's that story? And then they just don't even talk about it in issue 4. I'm like, come on. That's the part of like, I was like, man, again, they're still doing great work. The whole team, Black Cotton, of course, Brian Hawkins, Patrick DeForman. I can't remember the two other gentlemen's names, but they're out of the country names, so I can't remember them.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job. I just think the art and the writing for that book is fantastic.
That's the parts that shine too. The whole book shines. But yeah, that's a little bit for that. Now let's get into the actual gaming news. That's why you're here, I'm here. But yeah, this week we'll just start off like you said. Nintendo Switch came out. All those the grub suckers came out. We wanted to make sure like all these influencers, YouTubers saying, listen, the Switch Pro is coming. Watch. And then Nintendo opened up and says, hey, we got a new Switch model. And it comes with just an OLED screen, and that's it.
Yeah, I think it comes with a little bit more than that. The Switch, it's a new version of the Switch, essentially. It's not a complete upgrade like people thought it was going to be. They thought it was going to be like the Switch Pro or whatnot. Essentially, it's a new OLED screen, which is a little bit bigger. I think it's 7 inches instead of what the regular Switch is. It also comes with not a USB drive, but it comes with a slot where you can plug in an Ethernet cord as opposed to wireless internet for the Switch, which is really good because the Switch dock sometimes have connection issues if the Wi-Fi is whack. So I like that aspect of it. And it looks clean. There's 2 versions if I'm correct. They have a white one. It's just the white one?
Yep.
I thought it was a white one and a red one.
I'm pretty confident it's only the white one, but maybe they have, because also like the Joy-Cons, there's no different Joy-Con. So Joy-Cons are home. You can use the same shit. I'm more curious. I'm more surprised you are sounding very okay with it. I'm not saying let's go burn Nintendo, but the idea of you even kind of trying to make it sound like it is different. It really isn't different besides because all the chips are the same. Like there's no like because
the internals are completely the same, just a better screen essentially.
The grub fuckers, said there was going to be a brand new chip with whatever the mobile chips are, so you can have 4K blah 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 bullshit. Yeah. But it has an OLED screen that's 7 inches, and then obviously, of course, it's bigger. Of like when I was going to say like a Vita, the old school Vita had an OLED screen, but I digress on that part. And then, like you said, there's a new Switch dock in the sense where it comes with an Ethernet port.
Yes.
But what I've heard through, just listening to people like, that is great. But also, they're like, I've had an Ethernet port since the beginning, since I bought that USB. I removed one of my USBs to have an Ethernet port. They've done. Not saying that's the best way to do it, but like the idea that they also have raised it $50 more just for a new screen and an Ethernet port. Do you like that?
I think the OLED screen makes a difference. I like the OLED screen. Like, I'm gonna get it. I think this is for people because if people don't know, this is kind of the third Switch revision.
Yes.
The first one with the original Switch, which I have still. Then they had one that just came with a better battery at the same price as the original Switch. And I want to say that phased out the original Switch.
Yeah.
And now they have this model, which is based off of the newer model Switch, but has an OLED screen instead of the regular screen it has. So I think it's a decent upgrade. An OLED screen makes a big difference in terms of like how it looks. I don't know how that would transfer over to a Switch. But I know on the Vita, it looked great. Like I have a regular Vita with the OLED screen. I have one with I think it's an LCD screen. And the difference, while it doesn't seem like it's a lot. The LCD screen looks a little bit more washed out as opposed to the OLED. The OLED screen gives you these bright, vibrant colors. So me personally, I'm going to upgrade to the newer Switch because I have the original Switch. So I'm like, okay, it's time to upgrade with a little bit better. So I'm going to be getting better battery life, OLED screen, and an Ethernet port.
My question is then, because I'm more surprised you're going towards that kind of funny thought talking. No, but what would your feelings be if you forked over $350 this Christmas, and then the new rumor is 2022 is the Switch Pro?
That's a good question. I would be a little bit more upset about it then if I bought this and I think it comes out October?
Yeah, it comes out October 15th, the same day as Metroid Dread.
If I bought this in October and then in January they're announcing the new Switch is coming out like in December, then that's a reason to be upset. But I don't think the new Switch is coming out. I think, and I will go as far as say this, I think that all the rumors and things and all the things they're talking about were true with the 4K screen and stuff like that. I think those are it's actual true thing. There is a Switch like that that's coming out, but that's far away, and I think that's more or less going to be the Switch 2.
You really do think that?
Yeah, but it's going to be far away. I would guess 2024.
Because but also, that's where I'm glad I'm also out of that ecosystem. Besides the idea of where people, that's why people talk. The games, I'm like, man, that looks good. Even Mario Golf. But also, like, I had a Switch Lite, but now thinking about it, I'm like, I wonder what my feelings would be about the Switch if I had the more dock set one. And then that's where people are getting mad because there's improvements for handheld, but the people who have been invested in Switch and wanted something new for their TV versions, there's absolutely nothing changed.
Nothing changed for you. Except, like I said, Ethernet port, which is nothing major.
But yes, you are correct. And then also the idea that it does help down the road of like, hey, you wanted download a new game, just set in the dock and it's probably double.
I have a logical reason why I think they put that in there.
they should have been in the first place. But yes,
one, it should have been in the first place, and two, I think they're putting that in there because they're going to start giving you more games to stream. Like the whole Resident Evil 7 was able to, you could just stream play it in Japan. They had, what's the one they have here? It's Control. You can play via streaming.
And then also A Plague's Tale Innocence, which we just got the PS5 version. The Switch now has a cloud version that just came out too.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing more cloud versions of Switch games. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing games that wouldn't necessarily be able to run on Switch because of the cloud. Like, I think they're going to lean more into that until we get this newer version of a Switch in 2024, 2025. Because they know that they can't at this point compete with PlayStation and Microsoft. I'm not saying they want to compete with them, but they know that at a certain point in time, it's going to get to that point where these third-party companies aren't going to be able to make games for the Switch because they're making games for PS5, Xbox Series X, and it's going to be too much to scale it way down the Switch.
Yeah, no, that's where, because clearly Nintendo has not been in competition with anybody in a long time, but probably the idea of pushing third parties are pushing them to like, hey, are you, like, even just if you want to stick to Switch, are you getting the new chip system soon? You know, and then how well is this cloud-based gaming? That would be, that's,
And so that's the thing. I think that's a happy medium, and I think it would be easier for third-party companies to develop cloud games for Switch because you have stuff out there like Stadia.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think that you might have a point. And you know what? Hey, I give you that. And also, I'm glad you got that without, honestly, I haven't heard anybody discuss it like, oh, those speculations that we heard are Switch 2. And I'm glad you're not.
Makes more sense to me. Because when I heard it, I'm like, all the stuff they were saying in those speculations kind of sound like, damn, how much is that thing going to cost? That's a lot of stuff.
I'm glad you're not a grub fucker.
No. but that's like a 4K mini screen and all the stuff they said in that thing. That's a lot of stuff for something to come out next year. That should be like $600 or something like that. And Nintendo's not putting out a $600 console.
Right.
So I would think something like that would come out now 3 or 4 years down the line. That same console coming out at $399 makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah. No, and then obviously that's basically it for that because I ain't gonna lie. I was kind of hoping it was a Switch Pro because then I'd be like, is this my time to maybe look into getting the bigger, just going down that Switch hole again? And like, that's because this OLED one, I'm like this. I'm like, no, I'm going to wait until I hear what would be the next big upgrade thing. But
if I were to guess, I would think we're going to see this OLED one. And then by the time of next year holiday, we're going to get a Switch Lite OLED. I 100% can see something like that happen. Like, hey, here's the Switch Lite with like a Zelda one, but with an OLED screen for $250.
The only way they'll get me to even think about this year is if they have an OLED model Metroid bundle with the Dread. But
I can see that happening too.
Well, yeah,
but that's the thing about Nintendo. Nintendo will console you to death with consoles that have like the same innards and not even really marginally upgraded. It's just like the same shit, like the 3DS, the new 3DS XL.
Yeah.
And people, because they know people are going to buy it.
Nintendo fans are not that bright. They just, they hear it, they're like this. Oh, Zelda? Okay. And then they don't care.
And the thing about it is they're complaining about this OLED Switch, but I guarantee you a lot of them are going to buy it.
So, everyone who's complaining, they already pre-ordered it. They like to just, because that's the best part. They get mad at Nintendo, give the money to Nintendo, and like a bad boyfriend. They get it.
Yeah.
But the next news that kind of is, I think is going to definitely, the shit's going to hit the fan on this, but apparently the future of Assassin's Creed is going to be live service. Ubisoft Montreal and Quebec have teamed up for Assassin's Creed Infinity. a huge platform plan to have multiple settings. But after, basically, that's why it's going to be live service. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be like multiplayer. The idea of it's just going to be an ongoing, revolving world of Assassin's Creed. The reason I stumbled is because I collected Jason Shire's quote, which then he also said, several men accused of abuse are still in charge at Ubisoft too. So that's also another red flag. Like, what the fuck's going on over there? But
why did he add that random ass quote in there?
Because it's Jason Shire, and honestly, those are some of the newscasts I can stand for. That's not about, oh, how's the gameplay. If you're expose like, hey, there's shitty people working here still.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, go for it. But no, made me sound special for it. But no, I don't care. I don't think I've said it on the show yet, but I am not buying a Ubisoft game ever at launch anymore. So
makes no sense to at this point.
Nope. Seeing this last year's run of them, and then seeing because I only did it because of like the deals, but also at the same time it backfires. I got Watch Dogs Legion at launch, and then got $10 back at GameStop. But literally in 2 weeks, it was $40. I'm like, damn.
And you wait a month, it'll be like $20.
And now, yeah, 3 days ago it was $17.99 on their deal of the day. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I think the Ubisoft was kind of tricky. Getting back to this Assassin's Creed thing, that's not for me. I don't like when they do these whole, like they did with Rainbow Six Siege. I was a big Rainbow Six fan. I like the ones they have for Vegas. 360 and Vegas. Yeah, that's the ones. 1 and 2. I like those a lot. And when they kind of took that away, like, no, this kind of just multiplayer only, really. I lost complete interest in it because I didn't want to do that. And it kind of killed it for me completely. And I feel like if they do this similar to Assassin's Creed, where it's like, you got to be always online and we're going to give you stories every month. Basically, it's the Avengers. It sounds like it's the Avengers model.
Shit.
Yeah. Where it's just like, hey, Avengers games, like, hey, you can continue after you finish the single player of it. You can play these war zones and stuff every week until we give you new story content. I feel like that's what they're doing with this Assassin's Creed game. That's what it sounds like, at least. And that doesn't interest me at all. I don't see why would I want to keep going forth. And why would I buy this when the last Assassin's Creed game gave me 120 hours of a game? That was a great experience. And the one before that did the same thing, told these rich and vibrant stories. And I gladly would give them $60 for that each and every time. I'd rather do that than just like, hey, you can play online in this thing and have this experience, and it doesn't feel the same. And it may be good, it may not be good, because we're kind of trying to constantly give you content. And when you constantly give somebody content, you're going to have a lot of hits and a lot of misses.
Yeah.
I feel like GTA does a good job with that monthly, but Ubisoft not GTA.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm also been a person, the last Assassin's Creed I finished was Origins. And for like that, I think that hour span, because I think it was, I want to say it was like 35 hours to beat, 40 to 50 hours, or maybe it's a whole nother, maybe it was like 60 hours total to like platinum for that theory. That was the last one I felt, I'm like, you know what? That was a great game. I played Odyssey. I cannot finish it because it's just so big, and it's also
overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. So does Valhalla. And Valhalla and Odyssey both now have, like you said, it's like 80 hours to even just finish the main story. And it's nuts. And I just cannot fathom it. And and that's a good conversation. They've been having content coming out the wazoo with like the Druid shit, but which is good. They have heard good content, but the idea, it's just so much for me as a new person. I'm like, Yeah, I'm overwhelmed about that. And then also this always online version, like no, I think they're not listening right. Just because there are free to play games that are controlling the ecosystem and conversations, you gotta stick to your lane. And Ubisoft is trying to expand their lane the wrong way, in my opinion.
I agree. Know what I would like them to do? I think, and this goes a long way with me, I think they should go the Witcher approach. To me, it seems like Ubisoft is making a Witcher game every 2 years, 3 years. What I mean by that is, Witcher is a long game.
Yes.
It's 120 hours. You can make one of those every 5 years, and we would be absolutely fine. Every 5 years, make us pay for DLC. Here's a season pass. Here's another season pass. People will gladly do it. I bought Mortal Kombat. I love Mortal Kombat. 11, I bought 11. I bought 10. And I bought the season pass. I bought the other season pass because they kept giving me quality content. I will gladly give a company money when they're giving us quality content over and over again and showing us that they're going to continue to support it. What I don't think is a good idea is releasing a game as expensive as Odyssey 1 year, then releasing 2 years later. What was the other one?
Valhalla.
No, it wasn't even Valhalla. It was Odyssey, Valhalla, and it was one more.
Origins was before
Odyssey. Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla in such a short time span. Like those games, you can honestly last you for years.
Yeah, no, and like that's why I want to play Odyssey because I liked Origins' story because it's the origin of the Assassin's Creed. And then Odyssey apparently is technically a prequel, but you learn that down the road. But I just then they just overwhelmed it and Odyssey and Valhalla are definitely the ones that you had to buy DLC if you wanted to even have like a double XP so it doesn't take you so long to level up.
Yeah.
Those are red flags. And then what you said just now, it's actually a very good point because even let's say this even take a step back and be pro Assassin's Creed Infinity, the new one. Like this could be their Witcher style. Like, all right, we're just gonna have you buy this, we're gonna keep investing in this, but also like I don't think they're gonna invest it into a story mode style because like that's even more fun. You said that because The Witcher 3 is coming to next gen this year. They also said it during the whole December 17th is season 2 of the show, but they're adding more TV show DLC into Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for the next gen consoles. I'm like, and that's good in the sense of like Witcher. I can see what you mean. Like if Assassin's Creed could go take a step back and say, we're going to try to make Assassin's Creed be like the next Skyrim, where the idea that it's going to be a game that we're going to invest in, and we'll be working on it for 2 years fully, and we're just going to make it's going to be out of the box 70 hours, and we're going to add 30 more hours. That'd be like, well, okay, that sounds legit.
Sounds legit, and the problem with it is, like I said, when they do this, you have Assassin's Creed coming out that's 70, 120 hours. Then you have, not too far after, Watch Dogs coming out, where it's 40 hours. Then you have another game from Ubisoft coming out and they all come out around the same time. So you're like, how do you have time to play your own company's games if you keep putting out content like this at this clip that's so long?
No, I think Ubisoft is definitely aiming themselves to, they're not going to implode. The idea of you guys just went through the whole protecting themselves from like buyers like Tencent or some other bigger Chinese company. Like, and then you're doing some implosion style shit in my eyes. People are going to buy because the narrative of the gaming universe is Ubisoft's doing great, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, they're doing some crazy long ass shit that I don't see where the selling point is besides people just buying it because they're accustomed to it now.
I think people think Ubisoft's doing great because Ubisoft does this thing where they put these games out and they're $60, $70 when they first come out. Then a couple weeks later, they become $20. And then they sell like crazy off of that. And then they sell the cosmetics for the games, the XP for the games, and make their money back on that type of stuff. Yeah. Rainbow Six is a casualty of that. The Vision is the same way. And I think that's a good formula that's going to last only for so long. At a certain point in time, people are like, you know what? I'm not going to buy all this stuff for the game.
I think, I agree. And of course, I think I'm just with all the narrative. I wish they just also would give a shot to a new Splinter Cell, but
yeah, I think that would be good. Why don't they just, instead of making these Assassin's Creed games this expansive and stuff like that, and every other year, why don't one team make an Assassin's Creed game and use the same team, and another part of that team, because that Assassin's Creed team is huge, make another game, make something new, make something unique.
There are moments when it's like, I think it was Odyssey, they had 11 studios working on just Assassin's Creed, so they had plenty of hands on deck to do it.
Split the resources. Yeah. Let somebody make another game, whether Splinter Cell, it could be make something new.
Make Splinter Cell be only $25 DL, like in like a not even a disc. Here's we'll give you 3 levels, $25, and you get to fuck around with it, and also give you that co-op Mercenaries, the old school stuff.
Yeah.
Give them that, and then just see how it goes. I bet you money it'll be a top lister for at least 3 months on one of those DLC charts.
Yeah, or they can even just say, hey, let's port over some of these. Everybody's doing it now, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. Let's make a director's cut of Blacklist.
Yeah.
Splinter Cell Blacklist and put it on PS5. I don't think that game came to PS5.
No, PS4. Or the first one, Pandora Tomorrow, or I don't want to know. I don't remember the third one, because I want to say Chaos Theory, but I'm thinking of
Chaos Theory is a Splinter Cell game.
It is?
Yes.
I didn't know of that, or Siphon Filter. I couldn't remember.
Yes. Why don't they just start remastering some of those games and put them on PS5 and Xbox Series X? They would sell like hotcakes.
They got to make sure they have Just Dance each year. That's why.
Yeah. I don't know. Splinter Cell Double Agent never was on a PlayStation system. Put it on. Hey, let's remaster this and put it on a PlayStation system.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see when the time comes. But obviously, the next big thing, and the only thing we're going to talk about after this, and then hot picks, but PlayStation had their State of Play. And before we break it down, obviously you watched it.
Yeah.
What would you grade it?
A C.
C?
I'll tell you why. I don't think honestly they should have did it. Now, I'm going to tell you why I don't think they should have did it. I feel like everybody was looking for PlayStation to come up with something after E3 as a response to E3. Doing something like this, while they gave us some interesting things, after E3, even if it's a month later, this shouldn't be your response to Xbox's E3. And not saying that PlayStation is making things to respond to Xbox E3 or E3 in general, but you have people kind of clamoring for something more, something different. I don't think a Death Stranding director's cut and Ghost of Tsushima is that.
I want to say I do agree. I think because I didn't know exactly how to feel, but I'm gonna put them closer to the fire than I should. But I'm gonna give it also a C+, but mine's a little different because okay, we'll even backtrack. They gave us the Horizon video. That's actually okay. Besides the idea of them hyping it and having an 8-hour fucking trail cam before they even showed 15 minutes of gameplay. That's another thing they have a problem with right now. And then 2, they had not even in a State of Play, they just had, Ghost of Tsushima director's cut's coming. And then they had that whole really poorly discussed breakdown of how to get the PS5 director's cut for, at the end of the day, it's $30. But this is the reason I'm going to give them a little bit of pushback is because you said this is going to be an indie showcase. You had half a week of people saying PlayStation is dog shit to indies.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna come back with indie showcase, and then we'll discuss it while we're through. And you guys, listeners, you tell me if these guys sound indie to you when we get to the nitty gritty, the middle of it. They started with indie because I am actually very excited with Moss Book 2 is announced, because that they gave us the first one for free. I haven't got to play it yet, but I'm very excited for that they're continuing that saga with Moss. And then, okay, here's the first little red flag on a fucking indie game. Ilphonic Arcadegeddon. Does that sound indie just because they did shitty games?
No.
Ilphonic, if people don't know, are the ones who made Friday the 13th and Predator. Not saying because you're indie, but also your game's quote unquote flopped. Not saying they're bad, but the idea of it's kind of hard to look at you now as a indie. Did you have you got to hit that button? I couldn't find the fucking beta access on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it's on there. You have to go look. I found it by mistake for that game. Like I was surfing through the PlayStation games and I saw it up there. It's like I think it's like $20.
Yeah, no, the full game's $20. So obviously it's an indie price, and I think it comes out in September. I can't remember because I don't even think it gave me a real date. But for people, it's a multiplayer shooter. You can play solo or 4-player co-op, but it's an online multiplayer. Like I don't even know, like a horde mode. I don't even 100% sure. But there was an early access you can play it right now, but I couldn't find it.
It's on there. I saw it today. I literally saw it today.
And then the next one is they had a Tribes of Midgar post-launch details revealed, and the game will launch with the Wolf Saga season, introduce new rune system, 30 runes added with just the Wolf Saga shit they're talking about, special quests, season exclusive items, and the reason it is an indie, but it's also being published by Gearbox. Is that indie to you?
Gearbox is not indie at all.
No, they just give out. They just do shitty E3 behind the scene movie shit.
Yes.
The one here's these next three are indie. Fist, that was last time I checked was is going to be on Xbox Game Pass day one for free, but they just confirmed that it is coming to PlayStation, PS4, and PS5 on September 7th also. Not saying it's free, but obviously, yeah, that's an indie title. It looks okay. Did you see the trailer? You like, oh, that looks, I gotta check it out.
Yeah, I thought it looked okay. Yes.
And then next was Hunter's Arena. It's an online game. It's basically a battle royale. Instead of guns or even swords, it's going to be like kung fu. Yeah. So it looks okay. And now granted, this is a cool thing. PlayStation Plus members are going to get it for free on launch of August 3rd. And there's only 2 battle royale modes. There's going to be a solo bout against 30 people, and there will be a trios team thing. Let
me ask you a question, fella.
Yeah.
Can you really sell battle royale games at this day and age?
Ooh, it is very hard because I've on this show I've discussed. I tried that Spellbreak, which is the wizard one.
Yeah,
that has some cool mechanics, but also at the same time, granted, it was also PS4, so I haven't tried it on my PS5 yet. It was okay, but like compared to the smoothness of Fortnite, even Fortnite is smooth. And then the names of Call of Duty, it's hard to beat. Yeah. You're automatically overshadowed into a battle royale system that goes into what game? Oh, when you have Battlefield 2042 being overshadowed by a free to play battle royale, even Fortnite, I think, is kind of shadowing Battlefield.
Yeah, and that's my point. You can't, at this point, you can't charge for a battle royale game because there are so many out there that are free that people love that already have a community. Like, why would I pay money for your battle royale when Fortnite is free and I can probably play as tons of people that I would love to play as.
I'll even be clear that Battlefield 2042 doesn't even have a battle royale game mode. But the idea of there are so many different free-to-play options, even Halo's multiplayer is going to overshadow Battlefield because of that price tag.
Call of Duty
Warzone, Apex. There's a lot of, but also, how would I word it? It matters on how they present it. Are they going to start off the get-go because they're doing the free-to-play with PlayStation, or, you can download us for free? Are they going to give us cross-play off the get-go so that we have a whole community of okay, you can play with PC people that covers some of the player base, because it's definitely going to be a hit or miss. It's probably going to be a miss.
Yeah.
But I'll check it out because it's free, and which that's the way to get it in. But I probably won't stick to it compared to all my, compared to playing with Chalfie and Jawoosh on Fortnite. I'd rather just go play there.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then one of the a thorn in my side that hurts because of it, Sifu has been delayed. They did it's a very tongue-in-cheek style of doing the delay, because it was the way to show in the trailer that if you lose in the game, you actually grow older, and that's so they can show that you actually go learn more kung fu to be prepared for that battle next. So at the end of it says it was supposed to be this year, that it rolled up to early 2022. It still looks good.
Yeah, it looks great. I like how it looks. It's a cool looking game. I like the concept of the game. I wait for it. This kind of just a casualty of COVID. This is a smaller studio. I'm quite sure they had to do a lot of stuff, not in the studio itself, because they're working. They're socially distancing working. So I'm quite sure you're going to hear a lot more delays.
And then, but yeah, moving right along, we obviously had a new look for this game called Jet the Far Shore. It looks good. The game switches between traveling by ship and by foot, and it focuses on exploration. And then when I say switches from that, the ships are kind of they coast on the planet, because the planet's the ground, and it looks like a little a little playboat in a big water, but it has a very interesting indie art style. So yes, there is another indie game. So there's a small block of indies right there, but that one did catch me. It looks really good. Honestly, if it wasn't, how would I word it? The next game might be my game of the show for me, but also at the same time, it's a big game. So I'm not going to say it like that. Jet is definitely probably my little shining star of the state of play for me.
Yes. Of indie games, at least.
Yes. Because, and also it says it's come out this year still, so we'll see about that. But the next was the trailer for Demon Slayer's Hinokami Chronicles that's coming out October 15th. And this game has been becoming more and more bigger for me each time I see it. And now they have it. Obviously, you can see the pre-order on the PS Store. So I'm like this. Ooh, that looks good.
I have an interesting story about that game. When it got announced, my buddy from GameStop called me and immediately said, "Hey, I already got it pre-ordered for you, man." And he was like, "Go watch the show." I'm like, "Okay." And I started watching the show. I'm now on episode 11.
Hold on.
The show is fantastic.
You haven't watched Demon Slayer?
At all.
Oh.
I was going to watch it after I watched Jujutsu Kaisen, which I'm watching now as well. But he literally pre-ordered it for me and was like, "Hey, start watching the show."
Just dropped the $5 for you?
Yeah.
Dude, Demon Slayer is excellent. And then I don't know if you probably didn't listen to this in particular one, but me and Josh went to the movie, and this is why it's good. This movie is actually canon. It's not
I heard you told me that. Yeah, it's not like the Dragon Ball movies.
Yeah, and that movie was perfect. And it literally starts at the like there's 24 episodes in Demon Slayer. It literally starts at like the last minute of episode 24.
Okay.
And it's oh my god, it is really good. And also, how would I word it? Because there's fucking weebs up on the internet that want to try to critique this shit, but it has probably the best art out there.
There's the TV show?
Yeah.
The TV show's art is really good. I like how he swings the sword.
Yeah.
And what style comes from that, I like it a lot.
Episode 11, you said?
Yes.
So you met the pig guy?
Not yet.
Because as you saw the trailer is like episode. Okay, I'm gonna make the numbers up. So
I saw the trailer. I'm watching on Netflix. My daughter told me it was on Netflix. If you look at the trailer, it shows you the episode what he comes up in. It shows you a picture of him on the episode.
That house is what's in episode. You might say the correct number, but that game looks like it's playing episode 12 through 15, which is obviously that house with that demon with the drums on his stomach. That's on season 1.
Okay, I got you.
It's really good, and that's where it gets me. I thought it was just going to be a fighting game. I didn't know they're going to put like some story arcs into it. I'm like, okay.
I think that makes sense. I think is it CyberConnect making this game, correct?
I want to say so. I know Sega's publishing it.
Do you know anything about CyberConnect?
That's the guys who do Naruto.
Yes, and the Naruto games were very story based, but they also had very good fighting mechanics. Like I highly recommend if you like anime games to play those Naruto games. Like they sell the original trilogy of those games for very cheap.
They have all 4 on a bundle on the store too. One I played. I wish that I don't think it didn't go that hot, but the original Xbox 360 Naruto game that was like that was the actual
open world one,
Hidden Leaf one. That was fun. And then Josh, he plays the My Hero One Justice 2. And there was a quick moment when he bought it, like 2 weeks straight, just talking shit to people online. Because they do, and he loves the online, but he just trash talks and then just gets. It's just, I couldn't believe how much trash talk he does while he's just doing the fucking all the kung fu shit of the My Hero. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, that was a good one too, but the CyberConnect ones are really, really good. I highly recommend if you like fighting games and you like anime, try any CyberConnect fighting game and you'll be surprised how good it is. Also, another good anime game, Attack on Titan. Pretty fun.
I haven't played those ones yet. And then another Sega one, because Demon Slayer comes out October 15th. But they also had a trailer for Lost Judgment, the next Judgment story.
Sequel.
Because I didn't know if it was DLC or not. But it comes out September 7th, and this trailer was kind of cool in particular because it was the English dub version, but this definitely shows they were definitely showing like the next gen trailer compared to like a couple months back they were showing, oh yeah, Judgment's coming to PS5. Here's the compare and contrast. And it kind of looked, I couldn't see the difference, but in this Lost Judgment trailer, I could definitely oh wow, that looks excellent.
Yes.
They have definitely been improving the Dragon engine for these next couple games. But yeah, it comes out September 7th, and it goes back to my conversation for the listeners. Does Sega sound like an indie game studio?
Not at all.
And then the next one, they might be indie, but more info on the Death Stranding director's cut. And I don't think Hideo Kojima is technically indie, besides he just doesn't have funding no more.
I would just kind of say he's more double A than anything.
Yeah. It comes out September 24th. I will give him that. It's only $10 to get it if you already own the game. So that's a very nice, clear thing, but they also didn't say it on there. I saw Jeff Keighley told me on Twitter after the show. So I don't think that's fair on them too. But some of the new things, which I didn't know there was going to be this much, there's new battles, advanced combat mechanics, new melee, more weapons, a firing range, a cargo catapult, ramps, and more transport possibilities. And then There's going to be new story missions, and there's going to be a racing mode, so that like you can race on the fragile roads. There's going to be actual like racing. I don't know. So
yes, and you can teleport your packages now. Apparently, like if you're carrying a bunch of packages, you can have them teleported. Which I think is cool.
You beat it. So
yes,
what was your thoughts with the director's cut?
I wanted to play it to see how is it. I liked that they're adding a story DLC in it, right?
Yep.
I'm interested in playing that since I beat the game. I want to see what that entails, and for $10, it's worth it to me. I love Death Stranding. Death Stranding is one of my favorite games. But when that was last year, the year before last,
2 years ago,
and it's a beautiful looking game. It is beautiful looking. I like the story. I liked especially when a lot of people didn't like it, but the further you got into the game, the more it felt like a Metal Gear game.
Is there? I'm assuming so because it's Hideo. Is there a lot of open-ended spots that the story mode missions could definitely like? Here, we're gonna wrap this up better right here, right there.
Oh yeah, there is a point in the game where you're just walking around on sand at the end of the game. It's so weird. Like, okay, what do I do? And you're like, no, just walk around on sand.
That trailer shows that, like, it showed in particular a still frame shot of a older lady with gray hair with a shorter haircut. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but I'm like, okay, yes. It sounds like possibly not spoiler besides me just observing. Like, is that like their mom? But go on. But yeah, the idea of that, you know, it sounds inevitable. There's definitely going to be more and more of these. I hate this goes into Scott Snyder. Fuck you, Scott Snyder, to make these director's cuts. So everybody now says director's cut or this cut or want this cut. I'm like,
yeah, it's becoming a bad habit.
It's coming.
And PlayStation, it seems like they're gonna be all in on the, hey, pay us $30 more for the quote unquote director's cut of this game. Yeah,
but it comes. I forgot when it comes out. Oh, September 24th, like I already said. But yeah, it just kind of it was a way better trailer than the reveal trailer with Jeff Keighley. But then it ended with Deathloop, which is obviously, you know, the indie studio of Bethesda Studios. No,
yes. That indie darling.
Yeah. Obviously, just more for the highlights. They talked about each loop. You learn more about your target and the world. You can save abilities, weapons between loops with basically Residium, which is a material from the game, which you can find at your corpse, for example. And then multiple ways to get rid of your target. Juliana can invade your world PvP. It's out September 15th. And that was 9 minutes of that, and that was it for the state of play.
Yeah, I think they should have waited.
What did that sell you on Deathloop?
I was already sold on Deathloop. I didn't need to see any more on Deathloop. This kind of feels like they're retreading stuff already that we've already known about it. Like, I knew that, like, she can come in and PvP and all that stuff like that. I feel like just at this point, and I know the game's supposed to be out already because it got delayed, but at this point, we don't need to see any more Deathloop, honestly speaking. Like, just...
I definitely agree, because also at the same time, they kind of, in my opinion, lied. They said, oh, it's going to be new gameplay. If you've been committed to just having fucking eyes open, it's been the same fucking level. We've been trying to kill that fucking wolf for the past 3 presentations. They tell us there's 8 different targets, but we've been keep on trying to kill a fucking wolf on this demo.
The last one they showed, the trailer they showed for it, not at this state of play, but the one before this, I forgot where they showed it. They should have just left it at that. That was perfect.
I think that one also gave us the theme song that people loved. So yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I will agree. I definitely think I think they all should do better, but PlayStation needs to do better. They gotta quit letting the media control how I'm gonna say it. Like, if you guys don't think you guys are not on high on the hog and being quiet, then open up, start talking. Because that's how the media is making it look. So you guys look like a bunch of arrogant assholes not talking and like letting all fans stoop in our fucking own thoughts. And then while you have your competitors being
Microsoft.
Being Microsoft. I guess I'll leave it on that because I don't want to.
Yeah, because Nintendo's not doing anything. They're not talking. Yeah, it's just Microsoft is being way more forthright and open with their conversations and things like that. They're making themselves seem more fan friendly than PlayStation is.
Microsoft is on paper, not because they're not doing it. They're not doing it on with real money. They are just making it look like you guys like. They have a setup plan and it's very out there. Like here's the roadmap. Not saying it's going to be a good roadmap, but the idea of like we can show you games that we're preparing for till 2024. Some might not come out till 2022, 2023, but hey, we're showing that we're making them. Compared to the silent keep the guns, keep the cards to your chest shit I don't like.
I will say this about Microsoft. Microsoft has done a fantastic job of keeping the conversation about them this whole year. And what I mean by that is the acquisition of Bethesda, the constant touting and empowerment of Game Pass, like, hey, Game Pass is here, Game Pass is here, Game Pass here. Look what you can get on Game Pass now. They have been doing a fantastic job, even with their mess ups. They've been doing a fantastic job about keeping the conversation about Microsoft. Hey, look, we got an Xbox fridge coming out. We got this going on. We got this going on. They've been all year. Even when Sony has a game like Returnal coming out, we'll talk about Returnal for a little bit, and then us as PlayStation fans like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank. Okay, we talk about Ratchet and Clank. Okay, what's next? Then we're quiet again. Whereas with Xbox and Microsoft in particular, you have the Bethesda story. You have the people constantly talk about how great Game Pass is. What's coming to Game Pass? And it's almost to the point where people are ignoring that they really haven't had any big games come out.
Yeah, no, it goes into they are controlling the narrative so well. Like you said, Returnal. When Returnal came out, no one ever really technically, besides they said the game's hard, but the main conversation was, is this worth $70?
Yes.
And then people go, because Game Pass, like, oh my God. And then even they did it with Ratchet and Clank with the prices. And then like, I'm like, it didn't stick as long as the Returnal one, but yes.
I think that's Sony's fault because Sony would kind of be greedy with their price increase and stuff like that. And you see that a lot of these companies haven't increased their price. And not only that, Xbox is giving you such a great value with Game Pass, and they're like, hey, we're going to release our new games in Game Pass. All you have to pay is the Game Pass price to play this. Like, that's awesome.
Game Pass has definitely not even that. Microsoft was able to tell their listeners and people, oh yeah, we just actually, a year ago, hey, buy Game Pass for these games come out in 2021. Okay. They were able to say, hey, we actually we're going to trash these two ideas. We're going to start off brand new today, and they're going to come out. No one bat an eyelash. They're like, oh, okay, that's fine. Game Pass. Because like Arrowed or whatever the Obsidian, and then they had whatever the next Double Fine game that's not Psychonauts. They have both been basically canned, and they're just going to start anew. That happened, and then no one's ever cared. They're like, okay, because of obviously they're in that ecosystem and they see benefits. So I'll give them that. Whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to not question Microsoft about not having enough quote unquote next gen games when you're constantly getting fed a lineup of games every week, every month, or something like that. And it's constantly rotating, and you're getting a lot of cool stuff for free. So that comes with your Game Pass subscription. So they're doing a great job with that.
Now, yes, and then unless you want to say it, but I was going to say, I was just not saying those are games are Game of the Year contenders, but they are games, so you can try. But I also do think it kind of ruins the mindset for some to go, goes back to that renting mentality.
See, but this is the thing about it, and I think this is the interesting thing about it. Right now, they're not Game of the Year contenders, But eventually there will be some Game of the Year contenders in there. Like you're gonna have the new Halo Infinite. If I'm correct, Forza is going directly into Game Pass as well.
Everything that's first party.
Then I'm quite sure the next Gears, all the Bethesda games that you were talking about. So you're gonna have some really cool stuff. And we don't really know. I don't think we know what is coming up. What's gonna be the first Bethesda Xbox game that's coming out? You know what I mean? I'm not talking about what's the game that everybody's talking about? Starfield. Is Starfield supposed to be the first Xbox Bethesda game that's come out officially?
Is now because can you remember? Is it 2022 for it's 11/11/22?
Yeah, something like that. Because
that
I know
technically it will technically be Deathloop because Deathloop exclusiveness expires on September 15th, 2022.
Okay, gotcha. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
But it's definitely Starfield will be the first Bethesda exclusive.
See, that's what I was trying to figure out. What's going to be that first Bethesda exclusive that's going to arrive with Game Pass? When that happens, that's going to be huge.
Because, yes, and I agree. I just think I ain't going to say a word about that because Starfield is a shot in the dark. It's from the creators of Skyrim, which obviously Skyrim has won multiple rewards, but also at the same time, we have now grown to the idea that, man, Bethesda games are buggy as fuck.
Yeah, I agree. But this the thing about that. Even let's just say Starfield's a flop.
If it's a flop, it's not going to be a flop. But
yeah, let's just say it was a flop. It wouldn't even matter because we know Bethesda's going to have Doom come out on Game Pass, the next Fallout come out on Game Pass, and a whole bunch of other stuff that they're working on that's going to come out on Game Pass. So like, I don't like Starfield, but we know Bethesda's going to have something else come out on Game Pass really soon. That's brand new.
Yes, but also I think it does matter because of like that. That is a big thing to say. Hey, we're now on I know they do PC, whatever, but we're on a single console thing, and we still fucked it up.
Oh, that's very possible to happen. But I think the thing about it is, I don't think people will care as much. Well, Sony fans will make jokes about it and stuff like that. But if Starfield is fucked up when it comes out, we just won't get another Starfield most likely. It's not going to hurt Bethesda at all, really. It's because they're kind of set up with Microsoft and their whole game plan is, hey, Game Pass is what's going to make Bethesda money now.
Yeah.
Because all their games are going to Game Pass. So, like I said, Starfield doesn't work. Maybe this Doom will work. This next Doom game. Maybe this next Wolfenstein game will work. Which we know they're working on. They're working on a whole bunch of stuff right now.
Yeah.
And that's all going to be going to Xbox. So I think that's going to be really interesting.
Yes. I guess also we'll leave it on that because I just think also I think they put a good selling. They sold a Trojan horse to Xbox before the accusation, because how the last Bethesda E3 by themselves, they had that stupid little sizzle reel of showing Elder Scrolls 6 of just that town.
Yes.
Now the conversation just happened that Todd Howard goes, "Yeah, I'm thinking about starting Elder Scrolls 6." Like,
yeah, I knew that was a thing.
So, but I'm not saying they're not gonna. But yeah,
I just thought about something. Isn't Ghostwire Tokyo a PlayStation exclusive too?
Yep, which will probably have a year exclusive. Then it'll go.
And that's coming out this year too, I think. So
there has not been any word yet that they've either moved it or not. I can't remember.
But that's another thing. Like, we're still getting Bethesda games for now.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. That's why I'm also a person. I don't even give a fuck about Bethesda no more because, like, hey, that's just how business works. They're gonna be exclusive. I don't have it, so that's how it goes. But yeah, that's pretty good. And then I guess we'll leave on, with hot picks like we always do here, and then we're going to start off with comics. I have a little list of course, so if everyone who listens knows, hot pick for comics. So of course, I'm going to shoot off some issue ones that start off this week, so you can jump in and enjoy a new comic and maybe you like it. First is we're going to start off with Marvel. Is Sinister War 1. So obviously we're going to have a Spider-Man War 1 like a mini series happening. So that's cool. Scream issue 1, because apparently I didn't know that last week's Extreme Carnage is a one shot, and then this is the next one shot about Scream. And then from Image, Man-Eater Visions issue 1, Dark Horse, Savage Hearts, Aftershock, Beyond the Breach issue 1, Behemoth, Spare Parts issue 1, which is a collaboration or a prequel to a movie that's going to come out. And then also Valiant, whatever fucking that, the company that does Bloodsport or Bloodshot. It's going to be Valiant. Nine Jacks issue 1 comes out. And then, of course, I didn't say anything DC because this week is all like repeatable ones. Like this is like Joker week. So obviously issue 5 Joker comes out, which is an excellent series. But yeah. And then also for TV.
Hold up. I have a comic book pick of the week.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
You know about the Masters of the Universe Kevin Smith series is coming out, right?
I almost wrote that down from Dark Horse. Yes.
Yes. There's a comic book that just came out today for issue 1. That's a prequel to the Kevin Smith series. It's written by Kevin Smith. So if you're excited for the cartoon series that's coming out, the darker version of Masters of the Universe, check it out. I think it's going to be dope.
I believe it's called Master of the Universe Revelations.
Yes.
And then for movie TV, I'm picking for movie because I forgot to do it last week, but how it's working. The Fear Street on Netflix. There's 3 movies coming out, and this week or last Friday was the second one.
Okay.
And have you watched any of this Fear Street yet?
I haven't watched any of it yet.
It's actually not that bad.
I plan on watching it, but I got confused because somebody told me about it.
Oh, yeah?
And they told me it was written by R.L. Stine. I'm like,
yep.
That's fascinating. This is an R-rated show. It's written by R.L. Stine because he's known for like Goosebumps. So I couldn't compute it. But yeah, I'm super interested in watching the Fear Street series at least because it seems fascinating. I think the first one is 84 or 94?
94. And then this one that just came out that has the redhead from Stranger Things. It is I don't want to say 80. I think it's 78.
78.
But like you said, it is about R.L. Stine's Fear Street books. But last time I checked, because I was trying to look up, like, hey, which books are these about? It's a adaptation about it, but it's very good for the idea. It's rated R, so it's obviously has violent, horror, gore, and shit. One thing I also, if you just walk in knowing it's going to be kind of campy, you'll have a fun ride with it because obviously it's rated R, but also it's like we wanted to swear, but it's a PG-13 with swearing because obviously it gets that little campiness, but there are some interesting death scenes. And then 78 is really good too because I didn't know it because right off the get-go it goes, oh yeah, we're going to have Fear Street 94, 78, and then 1666. I'm like, okay, that's a big jump.
That's the one I'm least interested in, by the way.
You might like it because they continue the story. It's not like, so the first half of Fear Street 78 is actually the events of the ending of them talking to the person they were trying to get to in part 2. But part 3 does have the most campiness where those people get sent back in time to 1666 to see what happened to the witch.
Okay, gotcha.
But it doesn't look that bad, but the idea of compared to the other ones, this one definitely has its own path, but it's going to flip over to the 1666. But yeah, I liked it. I liked the first 2. I'm like, oh, these are really good.
Okay.
And then, of course, just because you're the guest, I like to have you pick music. Well, it's a hot track for the hot pick of the week.
Okay. I'm a huge Nas fan, as people who listen to my podcast know. And this is the 25th year anniversary of It Was Written, some people's favorite Nas album. So they re-released it with a couple of new songs. I think one is Street Dreams with an extra Nas verse on it. So check that out. But more importantly, they remade an old Nas freestyle that was called Life is Like a Dice Game. And they remade it when they updated Nas's verse. Hit Boy remade the beat. And they added Corday and Freddie Gibbs.
Oh, okay.
It's dope. You definitely should check it out. It's a modernized version of Life is Like a Dice Game. Dope remake of it and stuff. I really like it. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, there you go. And then obviously, yeah, and that's the show in the sense we didn't give Delvin enough chance to explain who he is and all that shit because everyone knows who he is. But yeah, tell the people where we can find you and all your shit you do.
You can find me on Twitter at Delvin_Cox. Check out the Delvin Cox Experience anywhere you get podcasts.
He's modest. Also, he has a Patreon that I would highly suggest that, it's worth it. It's definitely worth $1, but I think it's worth more. But of course, do what you want. But his Patreon is excellent. His show is excellent. He does some pretty cool side up shows on there. So Tell Me is probably one of my favorites.
People say that's their favorite podcast, which is crazy to think that a Patreon exclusive podcast is people's favorite podcast, but I'm very appreciative of that.
And then, of course, he does also, he does little collaboration with other networks. He does like a PlayStation XP for PSVG and all that fun jazz. But yeah, no, check him out at Delvin_Cox on Twitter. But he's a cool dude. One of my great friends.
Yes.
But yeah. And then of course you know where to find me at MikeFowler93 on Twitter. And then like we say every week, be good to each other and peace.
Peace.